Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. So today we're going to be going into this whole idea of becoming. You ready to dive into the material? It's really, I think it's juicy. You know, yesterday, of course, we were talking about the practice of becoming and the stop list and the start list. And I read you the Kurt Vonnegut letter, which was great. And I don't know about you. I mean, he might have been an old man, but I never thought that he much resembled an iguana, although that's what he says. It was such a good thing. Oh, yeah. And I forgot the quote of the week, which is absolutely crucial, don't you think? Look at this. Time flies, but the good news is that you're the pilot. And becoming is one of those piloted efforts, isn't it? Because becoming is transformational, always. We're always becoming a next version of ourselves. And my whole thing is, how about the next best version of ourselves? Not just blah, not just, you know, another year has gone by, we got another wrinkle. I want to do it on purpose, intentionally. What about you? That's why we're talking about all this today. Hey there, Doris. So we talked about what we need to start and what we need to stop yesterday. And today I want to talk about how wise women can take up space. Now, there's two types of taking up space. One is you're just existing and you're just breathing air in and out and not doing much of anything. And that's a type of taking up space. We don't want that. I'm talking about the taking up space as in I'm intentionally sitting here because I want to fill up this space I want to be a part of, and I don't shrink back. I don't muffle my voice. Here I am, warts and all. Like it or not. But that's what wise women do. They don't shrink back. They don't muffle their voice. They don't stifle their voices. They stand up, they're counted, and they take up space. They take up space. And that's what, you know, isn't that what you want? That's what I want. I want to take up space. I want to be the woman that just, they'll say, oh yeah, Leanne's here. They notice that I'm in the room. They notice that I'm in the room. Hey there, Lynn. Hi there, Maria. Sarah's here too. I didn't see Sarah. Well, hello, Sarah. I'm glad you're here. You see, the thing is that we're not meant to do nothing. We're not meant to just occupy a chair. We're meant to be here on purpose and for purpose, whatever that is. That's why we're here. I mean, it all connects. It all makes sense, right? That means we have to practice our becomingness. I know that sounds really vague, doesn't it? Probably. But it's like Kurt Vonnegut instructed those high school students, you need to experience becoming, creative endeavor, different thoughts, using your voice, for example. All of these things are helpful, and all of these things help to move the needle in your life. Hey, Nancy, good to see you. Lucy. So how do we do this? I think it's really important that we find out what's going on inside. Find out who we are. As we become, or as we're on our way to becoming, there's a lot of different things that come up. And we do things just to sort of amplify this idea of who we are. We amplify this idea of using our voice and being counted. I think it's massively important because as women, especially women in my era, you know, we're basically taught to shrink back and shut up. We're basically taught to defer to a man. We're basically taught to put up and shut up. A lot of garbage like that. I don't know about you, but yep, that happened to me. So maybe that's not the way to go. Not if you want to become all that you're meant to be. And I go back to this whole thing that that's not how we're supposed to be showing up in our own lives and in our own world. Hi, Cheryl. Really? No, of course not. You know why we're not supposed to show up like that? Because showing up like that means that we're shrinking back, not using our voice and just staying small. And staying small is going to accomplish absolutely nothing. Zero, as a matter of fact. So, you know, I've got a scenario for you. I know a lot of you who are, especially in my era, and I don't know how they did it later on, but do you remember when you were in school and they called roll? Do you remember that? And they would call you, and sometimes they just, they'd go by the last name, or sometimes they whatever, but they just call your first name, and they'd ask, well, do you have a nickname or whatever? And in other words, first day of school, your teacher wants to know who's there in the room, right? And the teacher oftentimes, especially that first day, did it. And then oftentimes it was just a matter of routine that it was done maybe on occasion or every day or whatever. But roll was called, and your name would be called. You'd hear it, of course, and you said something about it. And sometimes you did something about it. Sometimes you had to raise your hand and say, here, present. Do you remember that? Anyone? Anyone besides me? You had to prove that you were there, and you had to use your voice and sometimes a physical manifestation like raising your arm like that. And you know what? It's proving, yes, you were in the room, and two, that your voice mattered. Your voice mattered to the teacher because then the teacher knew that you were there. Well, I say our whole world is a classroom, and it matters because there is roll being taken every single day, ladies, every single day. Are you saying here and present, or are you checking out and numbing out? That's what we talked about a little bit yesterday. So I have a question for you, a big question for you. Do you believe your voice is valid? Do you believe your voice needs to be heard and counted and accounted for? And do you know how to use your voice well? Do you? Here comes the hands up. Yeah, we did that. Yes, we did. But are we doing it now? Who's the teacher? Life's the teacher, right? Or whatever is in our peripheral, those are the things that are calling us to attention, to pay attention, because this is how we get to the next level. It's just that simple. We can't do it. And I'm going to tell you this, there's always uncomfortableness involved, always. It's never comfortable. It's comfortable saying no, uncomfortable saying no, and it's uncomfortable saying yes too. Have you noticed that? I funny enough noticed that the other day. I was thinking, whatever you do is going to be uncomfortable. This whole trajectory of choosing growth or not choosing growth, it's going to be uncomfortable. Which uncomfort do you want? Discomfort do you want? So do you remember too, in class, we had Suzanne present. Hi, Juanita and Suzanne, by the way. And Mary, nice to see you. How about this? Do you remember when you were in class, we had the class clowns, you had the kids who were loud, and you had the ones that talk too much. Ding, ding, ding. Now, there you go. Always, S- is always on all my citizenship reports because I was a talker. Years later when I got my radio show, I gave a shout out to a lot of my high school teachers and said, look, now I'm getting paid to talk. How do you like that? But what is that about? What is that about? Class clowns. They're loud. They talk too much in class. What is that about? Is it maybe that these were the kids who decided to take up space and not just be quiet and sit in the back? Maybe. Obnoxious? Maybe. Teens can be obnoxious. Okay, there it is. Sarah's the loud clown who talked too much in class. Okay, Sarah, here we are. And Nancy was teacher's pet. I love it. But I say that there are kids who wanted to be seen. They wanted to take up space, and they wanted to count. That's what I say. And, maybe for some of us, for me, it was like making up for what was going on at home. I had some garbage going on at home. But the point is, I think from this very beginning, as a small child, we know intuitively, instinctually, that in order to become, we need to use our voices, and we need to be seen. We need to take up space. And we've seen that demonstrated in the classroom, and we're seeing that demonstrated in the classroom of life right now. We are. And now it's time for us to start using our voice to take up space. Because I'm going to contend that for a lot of us, we don't. For a lot of us, we are still caught up in old stuff from olden days, okay? So I've got 8 things for you that I think are important that will help you to appreciate and love your voice. Number 1 is to trust what you have to say is of value. Yes, your opinion matters. Yes, what you think is important. Yes, yes, yes. Pipe up. Say something. It's important. Your opinion is valid and important. And you know what? We don't have to be quick on our feet, articulate, and smart and witty and have an extensive vocabulary for us to feel like we have a valid reason for using our voice. Amen? You have a valid reason for using your voice because you are here on purpose and for purpose, and this is your life. Are you going to participate? Full stop. Right there. Using your voice helps you to participate in your own life. Number 2, trust your gut. How many of you have said, yeah, oh, that doesn't feel good, and it's not said anything, only to have it turn out to be exactly the thing that you were thinking? Hands up. Your intuition told you, beware, or, ooh, this might be happening, or I see something, this isn't right, but you did it anyway, or you didn't say something, and then all of a sudden there it is, and you're going, yep, there it is. I had this happen to me. I was young. My children were young. I was married, and at our church, there was something just a little off with a pastor and another pastor's wife. And I saw that. I saw it. And I said something, and boy, did I get in trouble. You should have seen, it was like boom from heaven, like thunder and lightning, like I was such a, how dare you? Turned out I was right. This pastor's wife ran off with this, with this young man, ran off. I was right. I saw it before me. And it wasn't just like I woke up with this feeling. I saw the little hints and the little signs. And it wasn't that I was looking for anything. It was just there. It was easy to see. And in my gut, I knew something's not right. And when I said something, got in big time trouble. So I don't shut up after that. But my gut told me, and I was right. I say to all of you, see, and look at all of you who said, oh, yep, trust the gut. Yep, trust your gut. Lynn says she was the quiet shrinker. Well, not anymore, Lynn. It's time to show up. Number 3 is refuse to be silenced. Madeleine Albright, you know who she is, right? She was the first Secretary of State in the United States. And she said, it took me quite a long time to develop a voice. And now that I have it, I won't be silenced. And all I can say about Madeleine Albright is pinkies up. There's a sisterhood there. Pinkies up on that one, because Madeleine Albright is speaking for a lot of us who, for whatever reason, it's taken forever for us to develop a voice. Men have, and listen, I'm not a raging feminist. I am certainly, I think we're all feminists. I think basically all women are feminists if you believe in having equal rights, right? How you express it and all of that. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm going to say this, that we have to understand that for men, it's just, they get to, go into a meeting. And I used to, when I was in sales, in my meeting, I was one of 2 women, maybe out of 15, 18 guys. And if I said something, sometimes there was eye rolling and what have you. There was a lot of shutting down in those days, a lot of shutting down. And now I can't afford anymore to put up and shut up. I can't. I'm going to have my voice heard. I'm going to stand up for what I believe is right. And I'm done being quiet about what I see as, iniquity and all of the rest of it. It's unconscionable. That's what happens when we finally start to stand up into the fullness of who we are. Our voices are suddenly coming out from way in the back of our throats. That's how we get to the place of having the life that we want, because we're damn well asking for it now. Have you noticed that? You never get anything you don't ask for if you don't ask for it. You got to put yourself out there. You got to use your voice. And I don't care if it's the written word. I don't care if it's an email or a phone call or a Zoom meeting or whatever. Ask for what it is that you want. Because if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. Chances are super high that's not going to happen. Number 4, guess what? Not everyone's going to like you. I'm going to tell you, I struggled with this one for a long, long time. The biggest people pleaser. I had a crown that said people pleasing queen on it, pretty much. I wanted everyone happy. You happy, and you happy. I was like the Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. You get happy, you get happy, you get happy. How do you want me to dance? Here I am for your entertainment. Meanwhile, taking the guns and just shooting down my own life and killing it. No voice whatsoever in my life. But you know what? I recognize and realize now that it's okay, because even if you go all the way into this whole people-pleasing arena, there's still going to be people who boo at you. There's still going to be people who say, nope, don't like her. No, she's just too much. She's this, she's that, and that, this thing, blah. People want to assign a value to you based on what their opinion is of you. And what do you say to that? No thanks. You can't afford to put up and shut up. And I'm going to tell you what, this is your life you're leading, your life. And you are the one who has responsibility for this life and how it comes out and what you do and what you accomplish and what your purpose is and all the rest of it. And you're never going to get there if you're people pleasing, because that's where all of your energy will go. That's where all of your focus will go. And boy, oh boy, and can I just tell you, it's exhausting. You cannot please these people. It will not happen in your lifetime. Even if you devote your life to it, it still won't happen. So why not say, done with that. And next, I want to lead my life. Number 5, speak the truth. Speak it. And can I just add another thing? You've heard this probably before. In love, speak the truth in love. You can do it without being harsh. You can do it without being unkind. And you can do it without having this, loud, obnoxious, well, you blah, blah, in the blaming way. I'm going to tell you what, when you speak the truth in love, it's liberating. It's liberating because now you don't have to pretend anymore. You don't have to hide behind this facade that you've created for everybody to like. There's no more walking on eggshells. You are now free to be perfectly imperfect, exactly who you are, living your life excellently, living on your terms with your voice. And no one can do it better than you. Did you know that? You're amazing. But you can't be amazing if you're just spending all this time people pleasing. Because I'm going to tell you what, no matter how hard you dance, it's never going to be enough. It's never going to be the right steps. It's going to have the wrong music, and somebody's going to criticize you. You should read some of the garbage I've gotten, some of the crap people have sent me over the years. Just devastating, nasty grams of things. just taking me apart. She's too fat. She's too skinny. Her hair's dyed. Ooh, look at the Botox, babe. I mean, stuff like that. Come on. I couldn't believe some of the stuff that people say, but they hide behind keyboards and they have absolutely zero courage in their lives. And you know what I said to them? Whatever. It's sad, pathetic human. I'm moving on and I'm going to live my life anyway. And if you don't like it, fine. But go somewhere else and get off my parade. And you know, as much as we can, and we have everybody that's on the dream team, if somebody becomes a big disruptor and starts being nasty, we have no problem unsubscribing them, giving them their money back, getting them gone, because no pollutants in our universe. We keep a clean house here. We keep a clean, supportive, loving house here, and we have no tolerance for that kind of garbage. I have no tolerance for that kind of garbage. I can't even tell you how many people I have unfriended and what have you, and stopped following because of the garbage and the spiels on Facebook. Take a hike. I'm done. But we can still speak the truth in love. That doesn't mean we go in and start insulting people. It just means that, you know, we know how to say the things that we need to say when they need to be said. Appropriateness counts. Number 6, stop dismissing yourself. Please. Please. When you speak up, you show up. And when you show up in your life, then there you go. You're on purpose and for purpose, whether or not you know it or not. You're still there. That's still a critical issue. Your opinion's valid. You're valid because your voice is important and it's part of the chorus that needs to be heard. That's how we get to the place of having the lives that we want to live. We can't do it. We can't become the best version of ourselves if we're silently putting up and shutting up in the back of the room. Here, no. Here is what you are. You're here. That's to be celebrated. Number 7, I've got a little hint for somebody who might be having a problem with, like, ooh, maybe this is a tough nut. I always say, and you know, when I reach out and say to women my age, because we who were raised in the 70s, it was at the weird time where the 60s was really big into the women's rights, but things didn't quite go. And so we still had a lot of throwback stuff. Our moms were all 50s housewives, you know, all of that. And so we had this amalgamation of, you know, this is what we do and this is what women do. And by the way, you couldn't even get your own credit card until 1975, by the way. If you were a woman, a married woman, you had to get your husband's permission. So just to keep things in perspective, okay? That's how it was. And so we bring a lot of clutter with us on that, with a lot of baggage on that, you know, and especially in religious circles and especially in culturally and all of that. So we're just sitting here like trying to find our voice. But you know what? I know one thing about women. I know one thing about our hearts, these big, beautiful hearts that we all have, is that we can be courageous for a cause we believe in. And we can raise our voices and what have you. And I want you to see the juxtaposition of that courage that you have for a cause that you believe in, and then having that same courage for the cause of your own life. You hear me? Because as much as you may be standing up for kids with disabilities or Gray Panthers or, you know, Alzheimer patients or whatever it is that you really in your core belief, and you work hard and volunteer and help, and you're courageous. You're speaking your truth. You can turn around and put that same courageousness, that same truth, and that same voice to yourself. If you can do it for a cause, you can do it for you. How about that? And number 8 is girlfriends, please. Pinky's up on this one. Can we just agree that we are always examples? There's always a younger woman watching, maybe a girl watching. And they need to know how to use their voices effectively too. They need to know how to become the very best that they can become. They can't become if mama's not. They can't become if grandmama decides to just shut up and put up. It doesn't work that way. We've barely had the vote for 100 years, y'all. Barely. And the suffering that these women went through in order to get the vote was absolutely unbelievable. You know, I told you about the credit cards. We had, you know, we're just now getting to the place of equal access, equal pay, you know, being mandated and all of that, and equal, you know, opportunity. But, you know, I'm going to tell you this. There was a time where women got fired for being pregnant at work. Did you know that? That was in the 70s, in my lifetime. Sexual harassment, I was told by my mother to expect it and how to rebuff it when I was going into the workplace. This is how far we have come as women when we understand what happened then and where we are now. And it's all because women stepped up and started using their beautiful voices that they've been given. This is the tool for becoming. This is how we take up space in our lives and we stand up and say, here, present, and accounted for. I'm not asking you to go out and be a radical feminist and burn your bra and, you know, do all that other stuff. Come on. You do you. You know, you do whatever you think is the right thing to do and however you want to do it. But let me just say this. No one should ever sit down and say, well, I just, you know, what the Bible says, I can't really use my voice. Whatever. That's not true. God loves us both, male and female, and gives us both voice. And we all have a voice. We all have the right to use it. So if you're not getting what you want out of your life, you're not using your voice. If you're not taking up space in your life, you are not going to become the woman you want to be. Are you ready to step up into that next level of living an incredibly vibrant life? This is what it's about. It takes a little bit of courage. A little bit of courage. You ready? Who's with me? Pinkies up, y'all. I'm ready to do this. And I so appreciate you. Thanks for showing up. By the way, if this meant anything to you, certainly share it, would you? I would appreciate that. And I will see you tomorrow for Thirsty Thursday. Meanwhile, peace be with you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.